we went to go see a property and we did a live JWB rental property of the week. Where we took 100 and something people to go see. We had two houses side by side that were, turnkey properties, and next to them were two retail properties. So 4 JWB homes, two that were sold to not your average investors, and two that were sold to residents, GC. Tell me about the significance of that, man. I thought that was really interesting.
So part of this tour is just peeling back the layers here to show you how JWB has built our business to not only just survive the Great Recession when we started, but to thrive in whatever market gets thrown at us and whatever economy gets thrown at us. So when Pablo was just sharing here, how often do you get to go to one property and get to ask questions, touch it, feel it, kick the tires in a sense, to one turnkey investment property? Well, it wasn't just one, it was two turnkey properties. So now you could look at some things and say, well, this is a slightly different floor plan over here. Why did you do this? Why did you do this on this side? So you kind of got compare and contrast. And it worked really well too, because they were right next door to each other. They're both JWB homes, of course. And we have 100 and some odd people that are going through. So it helped. It was very, very convenient. But the next kind of layer that I wanted to share with everybody is the secret to JWB being in business for 18 years and surviving is that we understand that different market conditions are going to come our way. We are not fixated on one way of doing business forever. And when market conditions change, we just need to see what's going to happen early enough so that we can pull one part of the lever of our business a little bit different than another lever of the business. And when the market is telling us that this is going to open up as an opportunity, we bob and we weave and we make sure that that lever is pulled. So where this is all going is next to those two JWB turnkey properties were retail properties that JWB owns, and then we sold to owner occupants. When Pablo is saying residents, he's talking about people who are moving into the home. They bought the home to move into the home. And you start to get to see some similarities and some differences for how we would renovate or build a new construction home that's sold for retail to owner occupants, and how it is sold to a turnkey client. Like, for example, one of the questions that was asked was, hey, Greg, I looked in the backyard, and on the retail properties, I see nice, fresh sod in the backyard, and it looks really nice. The grass looks great. And I looked in the backyard of the turnkey property, and the backyard didn't look nearly as nice. There was not sod, there was not grass. Why did you make a decision to do it over there, but not over here? And what I was able to share with people is that there is a different intention there. There is a different market there as well. On the retail side, folks are willing to pay for that sod. It helps the saleability of the house, and folks who move into that house have proven that they want to continue to maintain that sod over time. Generally, they have more income to be able to do that, and so it makes sense to do the additional landscaping in the backyard for a retail house right next door to a turnkey property. In a turnkey property, it has proven not to be a great return on investment for the end client, and it is not good for the resident as well, because if you give them sod and landscaping, part of their lease agreement is that they need to maintain this, which takes time, effort, and money to maintain that. And for residents, that is not what their intention is. So it's actually more of a burden to have that. If you just have really nice sod landscaping, you don't do anything about it, well, it's not going to be nice. And then eventually the resident could be on the hook for that. So we don't do those things. So there were 10, 20 other takeaways that you could see from retail to turnkey. Why do we do this? It's because we have a different lens when we're selling a property to you. It's to a return on investment, as well as providing a great living experience for the resident. But I did want to make one more point. In addition to seeing the differences there, the big picture here is the reason that we've been able to survive and thrive through all these market conditions is flexibility. And so in our core neighborhoods, as we're building out over 400 homes, we are very flexible for which homes we are going to sell to retail owners and which homes we're going to sell to turnkey clients. It's the same home. It's built largely the same way in the same neighborhood, and some goes to retail market and some goes to turnkey. This provides incredible flexibility for JWB that most other investment companies just simply don't have, because they only do one thing one way and they take a big risk. If a developer builds out, 100 homes in a subdivision and those homes don't sell, they don't have the ability to rent those homes out and then to sell those assets to investors on the back end. So I thought that was a really cool takeaway that we got a lot of feedback. People were like, I didn't know that you guys also do that.
In that story, it's such like a snapshot of the operational prowess and strategic masterpiece that is JWB, right? Like you have mentioned essentially data flywheel, this idea that you guys understand and, like because of your proprietary data, that sod in a rental property doesn't make sense while sod in a retail sales situation does make sense, right? Like those nuances that most people don't have. And you're also describing this idea that you have built a business that is built to last, as one of Jim Collins' books is called, right? Like you have thought through the different cycles of a market and the different kind of like scenarios that you can go to, and you guys pressure test your business and you do all these different things that, most business at your scale just really aren't organized and operationally capable enough to do. And what that means is you've built something that's going to be here for a long time because you're building these long-term relationships. You're asking people to invest in a city for 30 years. You're asking people to invest in your team for 30 years. And you're like able to show that you've thought through what all that means, which I think is really incredible.
Absolutely.
Cool, man.
It's a matter of survival in 2006. We had to learn the hard way in 2006 when we started, but that same kind of mentality has stayed with us, and I think has served us really well in good times and in times that have been challenging, for sure.